There we go.
So we're going to go to github.com and Permissionless Software Foundation. And I know I've already downloaded this, but I thought I'd just do it again. So here we are at the Permissionless Software Foundation, and we want the SLP CLI wallet. So for those who are watching this video, there is a search bar right here. This one up top will have you search other repositories, but not exactly this repository. So you just want to make sure you do that, because that can be confusing. All right, so SLP CLI wallets right here. So, Chris, this is all the README for this and the NPM.
And definitely take note of the little paragraph at the top in italics. Just that this is a hacker-friendly wallet, so it's easy to burn SLP tokens on Bitcoin Cash. So don't use this wallet for tokens with value like stablecoins.
Yes, yes, and put on some sunscreen or you'll get burned. All right, that's a stupid joke. All right, so for those who want to download this sort of thing, you can download the zip right here. You can also copy this to your wallet here, and I'm going to open up my command line and try to switch the screen over to it. All right, so I'm on a Windows machine, so I'm using Git Bash for those who are interested, and it is basically a Linux terminal. So I'm going to CD over to my documents. And if you are typing out, for those who don't know command line, if you press tab, it will autofill to stuff. Now I'm going to list my documents. I think I have a PSF folder already. Yep, PSF programs. So let's CD over to that. Oh, too many options. CD, PSF. It's got to spell it right.
I think if you hit tab now, it'll fill in the.
What?
It's because there's a space. I think you have to. So just type PSF and hit tab. This is one of the weird intricacies of Bash on Windows.
Even I'm not that good at this. PSF tab. No, it's not wanting to do it.
Because you already have a PSF and a PSF programs.
Yeah.
I think you have to wrap them in a single quotes.
That's true.
Because it's interpreting the space as an argument.
All right, so now I'm in PSF programs. I already do have an SLP CLI wallet downloaded, but I should probably just do this again. So,
well, if you have anything in the wallet directory, you want to make sure to, don't delete it, because the wallets are saved in that directory.
Yeah, that's true.
If you have any previously saved wallets.
I'm gonna check it. Just make sure here. Documents. I'll just move it out of there. So.
Yeah, better just to rename it. You can check it later.
I'll name it CLI Wallet 2. There we go. So git clone, and then another weird thing, it won't let you do Command V on this. So what am I doing wrong with this? I haven't done command line in a while.
Yeah.
Is it GIT?
Yeah, GIT. Yeah.
That's what I thought. All right. So you just saw me fumble through all this. But essentially, I copied the, let's go back to, so essentially I copied the URL address right here, and then I went over to my terminal, and I went to the folder I wanted to download it to, and I said git clone and Remember, it's GIT, not GET. Then I cloned it into there. And so if I hit LS on my terminal, it should list what's in there. And so now I have an SLP CLI wallet and an SLP CLI wallet 2. That 2.1 is the one I already downloaded. So let's take a look at the CD SLP CLI wallet. And now here's the thing for if you're using Visual Studio Code, you can go type dot and code. And I'm gonna go to
Stop sharing your video.
Yeah, my Git just died on me.
Oh,
Let's see. This is the wrong thing. All right. Index. That is wrong. I don't know why it's doing that. So again, with computers messing up. CD documents.
I've had similar experiences with Visual Studio. It's kind of intensive for your computer.
Mm-hmm. So PSF programs. And then CD SLP CLI wallet.
But that is a cool shortcut. I didn't know that dot. That's what you were saying the other day. Dot
Yep.
space code.
All right, there we go. I got it right. It's code dot space if you want to do that shortcut. So I had that one wrong. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So my apologies, everybody watching this movie. I've had my or this video. Where's my Visual Studio Code? And it doesn't want to show it. All right, let's. Yes, I trust the author. All right, cool. I've got it up. Let me see if I can get this shared. And there we go. Share. All right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Chris? All right. So with all that, not that complicated. I just spaced on how to do it because I've had my head in video editing lately. But this is all the files for the CLI wallet, correct?
Yeah.
And we want to go to the package.json first because it's like the instruction manual.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to take a look at here, right? We got the name of the wallet. We got its description, a hacker friendly command line BCH and SLP wallet built with BCH JS.
Yeah. So any Node.js or program or npm library, everybody should always start with the package.json file and understand what the different properties in this mean, because this is how you can sort of read between the lines and just empower yourself to not be so dependent on the README, to be able to start to just consume the code for yourself.
So what does the bugs mean here? Does that mean that those are issues that have been found and that if you go to this GitHub, you can see some issues that people have listed?
Yeah, so this is also published as an NPM library. And so if you look at it on NPM, there will be various links on the right side, like the GitHub repo, and there will be a link to, if you find a bug, this is where you go to report it.
Okay. And then we've got our Cliff command here. These are all dependencies that we're importing to this wallet, correct?
Right.
So
the dependencies are all the other libraries that the program depends on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dev dependencies below it are the same thing, except that when you're packaging it as an npm package, you don't need to include all these in the dev dependencies. Those are just used for like running tests usually, QA and those sorts of things. And so that's all stuff that is not needed in production when the library is actually just being consumed.
Okay, so once I am done with and I've made my application, I don't need to package these in the JSON package.json because this is just for building the app, correct?
Yeah, and this is all handled automatically, but just so you know what those two fields mean.
Yep. And then we got engines, node. And so we're running off the node engine here, 8.0.0.
Yeah, I think it just means that it's compatible with Node 8
Okay.
and older, which we're currently on, I think 14 or 16.
Yeah, I think it's 16,
Mhm.
if I remember right. Files, these are all the files that are associated with the program, correct? And
Yeah, a
they
lot of
can be
these
found over here.
properties are optional and you won't see them in package.json all the time. These were because we're using an Oak template. Oak is the command line framework that this app is built on. Oak added a lot of these. So these are used
Mm,
when Oak is like when you install it globally
yeah.
uh, with npm, then you get this SLP CLI wallet command in your operating system. So a lot of these are that they're not really important to understand if you're just doing it the way we're showing in this video, where you git clone it.
So if we're looking here where it says main, this is our main index file, correct?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, like when you run npm start, it'll know to start there. Except this app's a little different in that we actually give it the 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 run command, which is in the bin folder.
Mm,
I think in fact, if you look at the scripts, there's no start script, and normally you would see a start script.
yep. So then when we come down here, we got the Oak plugin, which is, you said, what the command line wallet is based off of, right? The Oak
Mhm.
format, is that
Exactly.
all right?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the repository where it's at on GitHub. And then, so these are the scripts that we can run from the command line, right?
Right. So if you go npm test, for example, it'll run that test script.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have scripts call other scripts. I do that a lot. Just so like say, for instance, to keep the test script a little simpler, it can call other tests. And so you'll usually see a script called test and a script called start in any Node.js. And so that's npm start, npm test, runs those
Yep.
scripts, and then anything else is usually manually run. Some of them are automatic. So for instance, post pack and pre pack, those come from the Oak framework, and they get run automatically when you at some point when you publish the the package to npm.
Yeah. Okay. So if somebody downloads the SLP CLI wallet and they want to run something, they need to go to the directory it's in and then hit npm and then one of these commands, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those who are listening, looking how to do this, it's that simple. Then we can get into looking at what some of these commands do. So the next place we want to look here is probably the index.js.
Well, so before we dive into the code,
Yeah.
let's go back to the command line.
Okay.
And there's this typical workflow that applies to every Node.js project. There's, you clone it off Git, and then look at that package.json file if you want to sort of understand what's going on under the hood. But then the typical workflow is npm install, npm test, or npm
Hmm.
start. And so you've shown how to clone it. And so if you run npm, I think the bottom of your screen might be off the screen. I don't know, maybe it was just me. We'll see. But yeah,
Can you see it?
npm space install to install your dependencies, all the files that are in that dependencies and dev dependencies section of the package.json file.
So I've got npm install and I can go ahead and hit
Mhm.
enter. And
That's going to go out to npmjs.com and pull down all the other npm libraries that were listed in the dependencies and the dev dependencies section of that package.json file.
okay. And one of the things to bear in mind when you're working with the command line, it doesn't always give you a weighting. So you just got to be patient and then stuff will happen. And if stuff doesn't happen, what is it? What's the clear code for Linux to clear out?
It's just clear.
clear. Yeah. All right. So now we've installed this, right?
Yeah. And so where I like to start after I install dependencies, I like to type npm space test and see what happens.
We got error, missing script lint.
Yeah, see, this is great because I don't normally program on Windows, so I was
Mhm.
kind of expecting the experience to be a little different.
Yeah.
Okay, npm run. Oh, that's interesting. So there's another script called lint. So
Mhm.
do me a favor and type npm space run space lint. That's really interesting.
All right.
Lint. Um,
Is it just npm lint since or is it run lint?
it's npm run lint. We ran the command correctly. I'm trying to understand what this output is saying. Oh, okay. Well, so yeah, it ran. So the reason it gave you an error is because it found two linting issues. Linting is formatting,
Mm,
um, and not formatting in the sense of the program run, but formatting rules so that all the programmers who collaborate on code together uh, are sort of all their code looks the same, and so it makes it easier to read and digest and collaborate.
yes.
So it's found two linting rules, but what is interesting here is that so when you run npm test, it runs a couple different commands, and one of the you can see them separated by semicolons. And the first one it runs is npm run lint, but for some reason on Windows it won't do that. It won't. You can't have the script run another script, but on
Hmm.
Linux that's not a problem. So that's really interesting.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
I'm running from git bash, so maybe that's an issue as well.
Yeah. Well, we can look into this. This isn't it would have been great if the test had run, but this is actually really informative, and we can dig into that a little further.
Yeah.
But let's just see if you can actually run the command line wallet. If you do ./bin./run and then space help. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, not I misspoke. Bin/run.
Bin/run.
Yeah.
And the dot slash means that we stay in the file we're in, and then we're going slash, or the dot means we stay in the file we're in, for those
Mhm.
who don't know, and then the slash means we're going into a file that's within that repository or that file.
Yeah. So
So,
we're going into the bin directory, and then we're running a command called run.
all
And then
right.
just do space and type the word help. Let's just see if the help comes up. Okay, so the command line is running,
All
or
right.
the app is running. So that's how you run all these commands. We just brought up the run. So if you type ls to list your directory, you can see that there's a bin directory. And so that's what we did. And then in that directory is a command called run. And so
So
that's what we just did.
I'm going to cd into bin and then list what's in bin, and there's the run command.
Mhm. So that's what we're running because we're in like development mode,
Mhm.
and which is the best way to run this program, honestly, is how we're showing here. There are alternative ways, but they can differ between operating systems, but this is a really consistent way that should work on every operating system the way that we're showing here. But yeah, what we did by bringing up that help, is we listed all the available commands, and there's quite a few in here. Uh, and we need to actually think about better ways to organize this, just because the list is growing so big, and I'm encouraging developers to make pull requests and add new commands to do new things. So I need to figure out, or it'd be good to figure out if we could separate these into categories like create wallet, and I think there's remove wallet, and update wallet, or update balances, and list wallets. Those four could go into like a wallet category.
Yeah.
And then like send is send to BCH. That could go into like a BCH category suite. And then there's like there's enough NFT commands. Those could go into their own NFT
Yeah,
category.
I see there is the ability to create NFTs in this wallet, but not the ability to create tokens. So
Yeah, those NFTs are recent additions from Stoyan.
nice.
And yeah, and we don't have a command for creating SLP, general SLP tokens. We do have the code. It's just a matter of wrapping that code into a command.
Yeah, yeah, and it is in the BCH.js examples repository. So you guys can check that out if you just want to make standard tokens. And you can even create what I call basic NFTs by just setting the divisibility to 0, because then it is non-fungible. But you don't have the flexibility that you have with the child NFTs, where you have individual token IDs for each child, which can come in handy down the line, especially as the mutable protocol gets going. So
Yeah.
all right. So next, what would be a good thing? We want to create a wallet here.
Yeah. So do bin run create wallet, and actually, and then if you do -- help, it'll give you the help about that specific command.
Well, I'm in the bin right now, so I should just put run, right?
Yeah, let's see if that works.
And then create wallet.
Yeah, create -wallet, and then a space, and then -- help.
Run
Yeah, you
command
might have to
out,
do /run.
/run.
Mm-hmm.
And so create wallet --help. All right.
There you go. So I believe the -n is the only required argument, but you give it -n and then the name of the, like, to name the wallet file, and then -d you can wrap like a sentence in quotes if you want to leave a little description of like what is the purpose of this wallet, but that's optional. And then -t if you want a testnet wallet, but I usually discourage people from developing on testnet, because it's so different from mainnet,
Yeah.
and so poorly supported. It's better just to create tokens, and work with tokens, or send tiny, you can send 600 Satoshis if you want to just test, scripts or any sort of Bitcoin Cash functionality.
Yeah, I've always developed on the mainnet just because I feel like it's a hassle to go get testnet coins.
It
It's
is.
got it. So
And SLP tokens don't work on testnet. That's they've never really been supported on testnet.
So from here, if I want to create the wallet, I'm going to run create wallet and then -n and give it a name, or dash. So is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah. So /run space create wallet, create -wallet, and then a space, and then -n, and then a space, and then whatever you want to name the wallet.
PSF school wallet. Let's call that.
Yeah. So this will probably work, but I would really recommend not using spaces. Spaces is kind of only, and then you won't have to use the quotes either.
Oh, that's right. Because within command line, if you want to use spaces, you have to wrap in quotes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. So I like to use dashes instead of spaces.
You got something against the underscore, huh?
Oh, underscore's fine too.
I'm
You can also
just
do
kidding.
colon.
Oh, now you're getting out there. All right, let's see here.
All right,
So,
cool.
like, we created the wallet.
Yeah, the wallet was created, and you can actually see it in the wallets directory. There will be a PSF school wallet.json file.
All right, so let's see where we're at. And cd .. to get out of there. .. will take you up a directory. So let's look at the wallets. CD wallets.
Yeah. And we'll reveal the mnemonics, but we'll just delete this wallet when we're done with it.
And there is the PSF school wallet JSON right there. So there's our wallet. And I do think this comes up. Let me just check because I'm
So
pretty
there's
sure.
a cat command,
Let me,
CAT.
I do want to show this real quick, Chris.
Sure.
So back over here in Visual Studio Code, if you look at the wallets here, there's our PSF wallet JSON.
Hmm.
So that's what's really nice is we did it in the command line, and over here in the code editor, it's right there. And we're on the main net. There's our mnemonic. Don't steal it, please. And
Yeah, so normally those 12 words, that is the key to the money. Anyone with those 12 words can take your money. So that's the
yep.
thing that you would want to keep private.
Now those 12 words are generated from this root address, correct?
No, the other way around. You start with those 12 words, and it's a one-way street. From those 12 words, you can generate a private key.
That's the public key, right?
Yeah,
There's the root address, the public key.
and then from the
So
private key, you generate a public key, and then from the public key, you
yes.
can generate an address.
Sorry, I thought the root address was the private key. I misspoke. But I thought
It's hard to keep track of these things.
I thought the mnemonics were generated from the private key based on 1,200 randomized words or something like that, like a book of 1,200 randomized words.
Yeah. So essentially, those 12 words come together and create a number.
Yeah.
And from that number, and this is the difference between a key pair and an HD wallet. Those 12 words create the seed to create an HD wallet, which can generate billions of key pairs.
Yes.
Which is a key pair is a private key and a public key. And however, if you start with a private key or a public key, you can't generate the mnemonic. It's a one-way road, and actually, the mnemonic creates the key pair. The private key of that key pair creates the public key, and then the public key creates the hash. And each one of those 4 steps is a one-way road. If you know the public key, you cannot figure out or if you have the address that's displayed here, Bitcoin Cash : you cannot figure out what the public key is. And if you have the public key, there's other ways you can get the public key by searching the blockchain though. And that's fine. It's because it's called the public key. It's not that important. And if you have the public key, you cannot figure out what the private key is. And if you have the private key, you cannot figure out what the mnemonic was. It's all one direction.
Sounds good. And then when we're looking at this, we got our balance of 0, and we'll send something to that in a little bit, and we'll check that in the CLI wallet, and we will also check that in Visual Studio Code. And next address 1 is that because because it's an HD wallet. This one's an HD wallet, or is it an SD?
It's an HD wallet. Yeah, SLP
So,
CLI wallet is a HD wallet, so it's fun to kind of play with those. That root address is the very first address of the billions of addresses it can generate. That's the first one.
So if I create other addresses, I can then use my root mnemonic to access any of those addresses, even though I don't technically have the private keys. They were generated from that root, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So this is a way for those who are listening. Businesses can operate this way, and if you read Mastering Bitcoin Cash, which is on fullstack.cash, I believe you have a link. It's also in the GitHub, and you'll understand more about these HD wallets and how you can generate billions of addresses from one mnemonic. So
yeah, sometimes in the literature, these HD wallets are referred to as key rings or key chains. Because if you imagine like a physical key ring that has many keys attached to it, that's kind of a good analogy to think about this. Is those 12 words are a key ring with billions of keys on it, and then you just iterate 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to select whichever key on that key ring you want to work with.
And they're all one-way functions too. They're based on elliptical curve cryptography, and unless you know the generator number, they're okay, baby. We got a baby bird in the backyard that my daughter's taken care of. Baby cardinal.
Yay.
So unless you know the generator key, you can never go backwards. Or if you can, it's going to take a lot of computational energy and money and resources. So next we have the has balance. Obviously, there's no balance in this yet because we just created it. Addresses, we haven't generated other addresses yet. Is that a command line function as well?
Yeah. So this is a brand new wallet that hasn't even had its balance checked. So another sort of important little factoid while we're looking at this,
Yeah.
there is no history of that address. If you put that at, that's a valid address, but if you put it in like the block explorer, nothing will come up because the blockchain has never seen that address before, and there's no history associated with it. But I think that's what we should do next, is run the update balances command, which will actually expand this file that we're looking at, and it'll fill it in with a few more details.
Let's do what you're talking about and show them the bitcoin.com block explorer.
Yeah, it's explorer.bitcoin.com if you want to go there directly, but this is fine too.
All right, so here's what he's talking about. I just copied this. We're going to search for this address, and looks like there is the address, but there's no history here, right?
Yeah. So the okay.
It is an SLP
Some block
address.
explorers will simply tell you like, I can't find any record of that. This
Yeah.
block explorer is smart enough to be able to figure out like, this is a legitimate address, but it just can't find any data about it. And so this is something that is a little nuance that a lot of people struggle with, or I see a lot, is that you can create all these billions of addresses, but until you make a transaction, there's nothing on the blockchain. Nobody knows about that address. Nobody knows that it exists. There's no record of it. And because you can create billions of keychains with billions of addresses, like there's, it's extremely rare. It's supposed to be practically impossible for if you do this over and over again, to generate the same address twice, or for any two people on Earth to generate the same address using these techniques.
Also known as collisions for those who are into cryptography. So, all right, let's go to, we want to go back to the terminal, right? And so here we are on the terminal. We've created the wallet, and
yeah.
now,
So if we're in the, let's go ahead and go up a directory.
All right.
Other way around.
CD.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
So now if we do ./bin/run.
All right.
And then update-balances.
Now
let's just do the -- help to see the help for it. Good place for everybody to start.
All right. There we have ignore tokens, the name of the wallet.
Yeah, so that ignore tokens thing is used internally. And so really the -n is the only required argument. So if we do that same command, bin run update balances, and then -n, and then the name of our wallet, what it will do is it will go out to the fullstack.cache API server and request, it'll query the blockchain for information about this address, which it'll come back with nothing, but what we'll see is that wallet file will be a little more fleshed out.
All right, so we've gone out to there, and now this update balances, can we find that? We can find that up here, right?
Yeah, it's very bottom.
Here's in our commands, update balances. So,
and this update balances command is important because it's other commands that we run this command first.
Okay.
So if you're going to send Bitcoin Cash, it's going to run this command like automatically for you.
So yeah, go ahead.
Just so like in that example, it wants we need the wallet to be in the most up-to-date state before we try to do something like send a token or send Bitcoin Cash.
And I'm going to hop back over to my code editor and show that, yeah, this has changed once again. You'll see that balance confirmed is 0. This was not in the JSON file earlier. Balance unconfirmed 0. SLP UTXOs and BCH UTXOs, these are now added to the file too. So we can see we don't have anything in there yet.
Yeah, and so we could send funds or tokens to that root address, but one of the commands that is really cool in here is create or get address. And it will actually generate a QR code right inside the command line that you can, in fact, yeah, bring it up and I'll scan it with my phone and I'll send you some tokens.
So .bin
across the interweb.
And then it's what's the command here?
Well, you forgot the slash with the bin, but it's
yep, you're
get
right.
address.
Sorry, I'm not a command line expert guy. Yeah. All right, get address.
Yeah, get dash address.
Oh, I need to put the name.
And then there you go. Yeah. And I don't know if this works on yours, but in typical Linux, you can hit the up arrow on your keyboard and it'll give you the last command that you used.
Oh, really? Never knew that. I'm learning something new every day. PSF school wallet. Boom. That is pretty nifty.
See if I have any tokens in my bitcoin.com wallet to send you.
I think I got some I can send from mine. I'll beat you to it.
Yeah, you probably will. I don't have anything handy.
It's a race.
I got a load Badger wallet. Where did that thing go?
I have some tokens. You want me to send BCH or you want me to send tokens?
Yeah, it's great if you can send some Bitcoin Cash as well. You don't need much.
I just tried to send some and it's like the network fee is above $1. That's weird. Let's try that again.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
super weird.
Oh, it's got fastest network fee.
Let's see. I'm trying to use the let's see.
Maybe I'll send to, if I scan this, can I pull up the SLP address that way too?
Yeah.
So, all right.
Actually, I'm just going to take a picture of it and then I can scan my phone.
So I'm going to scan and then it says not valid SLP address.
Here we go. I got you.
Look at us struggling.
Because the Q, that's right. Because you see the simple ledger addresses below.
Yeah. The QR is for the Bitcoin Cash.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Oh, and I can't scan with my webcam because I'm using it to talk to you right now. Maybe if I turn off my video here.
I've got another wallet in here somewhere. I've got a bunch of them. I'll just.
This is always funny how you have to jump through hoops. Okay, yeah. I am able to access my.
Oh, I only have tokens on that wallet.
There we go. Let's see if I can scan this. There we go. I can send you 5 cents.
All right. I don't know why my Bitcoin.com wallet is trying to charge me so much freaking money.
That wouldn't be the first time that things have gone weird with that wallet. And then I'm going to send you, now that I have your address, I can send you some trout tokens.
Oh, you know what? I know what it is. I'm trying to send from the wrong wallet. I don't know.
BTC or something. But I expect that transaction fee to be more than $1. Well, if you update the balances, you should have some Bitcoin Cash and some tokens in there now.
There we go. So if to update, I was trying to send my wallet that's empty. User error. I'm
Okay.
having so much user error in this video. So Austin, when you watch this, you can have a good laugh at my expense later. All right. So we're gonna do a ./bin.run and then update balances, and then -n for the name, and then the name PSF school wallet. All right.
There you go.
Boom.
There we go.
All right, we got some trout tokens, and we got a balance of 0.0009553 BCH. And I'm going to jump back over to the code editor, and you'll get to see how that all updated automatically as well. So
yeah, so now this wallet file is starting to get a little more interesting.
Yeah. So
it's got in the SLP UTXOs there, it's got the token UTXO, and yeah, so that, and the has balances. So some of these properties, they're used by the different commands. And so the has balances is like a quick lookup of like which addresses in this key ring have balances. And that's what that property is there. So it's an array of objects, and each object represents an address. So you can see it has an index property.
Yep.
So there's the has balance array, and that first object in there has an index property. So it's HD index 1. So it's the second address in the key ring essentially. And
because we start counting at 0, correct?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so it has an unconfirmed balance, and that balance is displayed both in Bitcoin Cash and in Satoshis.
Yes.
So it's 9,553 Satoshis, or 4 leading zeros for Bitcoin Cash there.
All right. And then
yeah, and so the addresses array is just an array of the addresses that have been used. So there's the 0 and the 1. So we've generated 2 addresses with this mnemonic, with this key ring.
So this is good. And if I can keep track of what I've used, and then I could generate other ones if I want to, or maybe I have one that I want to just continue to use,
Yeah, exactly. And then somewhere in here is the next address property, and that's how the wallet knows what the next address to generate is if you need a new address. I think it's probably at the top.
At the top. So
yeah, next address.
Root address. 2. Next address is 2. Yep.
So this is the difference between an HD wallet and a single address wallet. In that, in order to preserve privacy, if you were to send some of this Bitcoin Cash or send this token, and you had some change coming back to you, it wouldn't send it to, it would try to minimize the amount of address reuse. So instead of sending it back to an already existing address, it would generate a new address and send the change to that, so that it tries to never use the same address twice.
All right. Yeah, no, I get that. And then down here is our BCH UTXOs at this address, right? And UTXOs.
So we have one. And the address that it's at.
But it's unconfirmed because our block height's at 0, right?
Yes, the height's at 0, which means it's unconfirmed. And so once it's confirmed, when we do the update balances command, this will all get updated. And so that height will have the height of the block in which that UTXO is confirmed.
That is pretty cool how we can just run that from the command line and then look over at a code editor and just see all of this updated in real time. And you guys can't see this because I had to switch screens, but it was literally when I hit enter, this stuff changed in the code editor instantly. So that's how fast it is. So let's go on back over here.
Just real quick, let's go back
Yeah.
to that wall. There's one last thing I wanted to point out in that
Hmm.
SLP UTXO section. So we have one token, and like you can have multiple UTXOs of the same token.
Yes.
And but in this example, all that data, the token ID, token ticker, token name, document URL, document hash, that's information that comes from the token's genesis transaction, the very first transaction when the token was created. And
Yeah.
so this is not data that you'll, typically see from any one piece of software or any one piece of infrastructure. This is part of the tech that's gone into all the software that the permissionless software foundation maintains, is like to sort of make sense of where do you find this information, bring it together in a sort of cohesive thing, so that if we run more advanced commands like mint a token or send a token, or burn a token, it doesn't have to go out and get this information every time. It gets it
Yeah.
once, stores it in the file with this update wallet command, and then it's there at the other command. It's at the fingertips of the other commands. So that's how we sort of increase performance and minimize churn.
So if I'm running a command though, you said the get balance is pretty much always run, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, so any of the commands where you involve like generate a transaction like send Bitcoin Cash or send a token, it's going to run this update balance thing behind the scenes before it runs the command you're actually trying to run.
So like if I'm get a little bit more complex here, and we'll do this later for you guys that are going to be watching this online. Uh, if I create an NFT group, right, and I'm going to create the child, and then I send that group over to you, then if I want to go to create the child, it's going to check the balance and say, wait a second, you don't have the group over here anymore. Or am I correct?
Yeah, things like that. Yeah, that's getting pretty advanced, but yeah.
Yeah. So
And or will it? I mean, that's the thing. This is a hacker friendly wallet, and that's why
yeah.
you really want to be careful not to put tokens in here that have value, because you don't really know what's going to happen until you run the command. Like,
Hmm.
and hopefully, like I'm just in this video, like some of those help commands need to be cleaned up, and we're going to try and keep this thing operational, and that's what the tests are there for.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a hacker friendly wallet. It's intended to be hacked upon and rapidly prototyped. And like those NFT commands, Stoyan submitted those, and I played with them a little bit, but this isn't going to be a heavily QA'd wallet. It's
Yeah.
more intended for rapid prototyping.
So when we're, and just we'll go back to the terminal in a second, but uh, when you're talking about get address and update balance, like we just did,
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who are online, go ahead and if you look at your source file and then your commands file, you'll see all these commands he's talking about that are pulled up in the help. What you don't see in the command line is exactly what these commands do. So you can go through here and just try to take a look at it. And, maybe we'll get into it a little bit more down the line, but you can see exactly what is going on and how it's looking for those balances and how it's taking your wallet name and looking exactly for that wallet on the blockchain. So if you want to take a look at that, I would recommend just looking around. You're probably not going to understand it all at first, but that's fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Looking at this code, what I recommend is, look at the wallet file like we've been doing, look
Mm-hmm.
at the code, and then go to fullstack.cash and the documentation page and go to the Mastering Bitcoin Cash book. And everything that book talks about, you can see applied here in the code and that wallet file.
Yeah. It says complexity is 16. You must be kidding, Chris. So
Oh, what command is that?
no, it's just something VS Code does at the top
Oh,
of like
that's funny.
stuff. Yeah, complexity is 16. You must be kidding. Complexity is 3. Everything's cool.
I've never seen that feature
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
How does it gauge complexity?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I've got another file I bring up for my 360 websites, and it's like an auto-generated program, and it's like complexity is 64. You're out of your mind. All right, so we're back over here in the terminal, unless you wanted to show them any more on the code screen.
Yeah, well, I think probably a good way to wrap this up is just maybe generate another address
Okay.
and then run the send command to send a little Bitcoin Cash to that address.
All right, so we're going to, so is it create address or
Get address.
get address? Well,
Yeah.
that'll make another address.
And actually try just hitting the up arrow and
Yeah.
see if you can scroll up to keep hitting it. Yeah, there you go.
Get address.
Yeah.
All right, man, that's a great little,
It's much
little thing
faster.
there. All right, so
So do
it
bin
created
run, send, and then dash help.
okay. Bin run send dash help.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, so 3 arguments. So you give it the name of the wallet that you want to send from, the address that you want to send to, and then the dash B is the amount of Bitcoin Cash you want to send.
all right, so let me see if I got this right. We got send, and then we're going to go N name PSF school wallet, and then just a space, and then we're going to go. Do we do B first or A first?
I recommend just do
A?
do the address first, and then you can
And then-
copy and paste that Bitcoin Cash address there.
All right, let's copy this.
So this might be a good time to point out when you generate an address.
Oh, what did it do?
I think you accidentally hit enter. Oh, or you hit enter when you pasted, but just hit the up arrow key. There you go. And then, but if you scroll up to that QR code,
Yeah.
this is another thing where people stumble, is a simple ledger address is a Bitcoin Cash address. They point to the same public key, and they're generated by the same public key. Getting back to that one-way street I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so some wallets will prevent you from sending a token to an address if it does not start with the simple ledger address. That's purely a guardrail put in place by the wallet developer. There's nothing in the protocol that says you can't send Bitcoin Cash to a simple ledger address or SLP tokens to a Bitcoin Cash address. They all resolve to the same public key. And so I have taken the stance, as has the Electron Cash SLP wallet, that all the Bitcoin Cash and all the tokens just go on the 245 derivation, whereas 145 is the standard derivation for Bitcoin Cash that before tokens were created. And so when I was there, when SLP tokens were created, and a lot of those initial developers agreed on this standard, even though it's not really enforced, is that if you send everything to the 245 derivation, which is the official derivation for SLP tokens, no wallet that doesn't know how to handle tokens properly should be using that derivation because it didn't exist prior to tokens. So it's important. Like, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but this 145 versus the 245 derivation paths are a little important to know because every wallet's going to handle tokens a little differently depending on whether they adhere to the standard or not that I recommended. The Bitcoin.com wallet, for instance, does not adhere to that standard, and many other wallets do not.
So let me ask you this. If I sent to a wallet that doesn't have an SLP address, but then I were to upload or like scan in that wallet to another wallet that does have an SLP address, could I get those tokens back?
It depends. Because what it depends on is that derivation path, whichever derivation that the wallet used. So you can use the same 12-word mnemonic, but give it a different derivation path and you'll generate different addresses. So let's say you use key number 2 and the same 12 words, you're going to get a different key pair whether you're on the 145 derivation path or the 245 derivation path. So when you're moving between wallets, when you're trying to import that 12-word mnemonic between wallets, they both have to have all these rules the same in order for you to see your money.
Yeah, I get that. So when we're looking at this JSON file, we got 245 as our derivation path, which is telling us that we're an SLP wallet. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
And like I said, Electron Cash SLP uses the same standard. So you can take those 12 words and import them into Electron Cash SLP, and both your Bitcoin Cash and your tokens will show up.
All right. Well, let's I think we've been going a while here, so why don't we wrap up by doing what you said? We'll send some money back to the wallet. And so right now we've got bin run send. So that's our send command. The name of the wallet, the address under A. And so it looks like, let me spread this out a little bit. And then we have to do the B for the quantity of BCH. And what do we have in the wallet? Point
So
zero.
I would recommend sending 1,000 Satoshis. So that would be 0 dot and then 4 zeros
3, 4.
and then a 1. So that's there's 8 decimal places in Bitcoin. And so that is 1,000 Satoshis.
All right, let's hit send. We hit enter. Existing BHS balance. Okay, and we've sent to ourselves, and I just saw auto update in my code.
So there's a TX ID and there's a link to explorer.bitcoin.com for this transaction if you wanted to look at this transaction on the Block Explorer. And then, if you look at your wallet file, you should have one BCH UTX, or actually you may need to run the update command one more time in order to see the new, the money that you just sent yourself.
So I would just go dot bin.
Or just hit the up arrow key to get back to the update address command. There you go.
Get address.
Update balances.
Update balances.
Sorry, yeah. Then hit that.
See, I'd be typing all this stuff in if you didn't tell me the up arrow key. So
there you go. Now go ahead and show that wallet file.
All right, we're gonna go over to our code editor. And yeah, we updated the addresses. We added a second and a third address there.
Yeah, we consumed some new addresses because there was change. And if you scroll down to the BCH UTXOs, there's one that has 1,000 Satoshis in it. That's the one we just sent. And then the remainder is the change from that transaction.
Right on.
And if you look at the HD index, the 1,000 Satoshis ended up in that second key, which is where we intended it to go. Yeah. And then the change ended up in the third key, so that this again gets back to like not reusing addresses.
Yes, because when you send a Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, you send the whole UTXO, right?
Right.
So
yes,
when
you have to
you
consume
sent
the entire UTXO.
Earlier in this program, when you sent me 9,000 or whatever, 9,304, something like that, that came in as one UTXO, but because I have sent some of that UTXO out and it's been divided up, I now have 2 UTXOs. That doesn't mean I have 2 Bitcoin Cash for people out there watching this. I have 2 UTXOs, unspent transactions. So
so if people go to that fullstack.cash documentation page and read the Mastering Bitcoin book there, it goes into this in depth, and that UTXO is a critical concept. It's impossible to be a developer if you don't master this concept of an unspent transaction output, the UTXO, and how they get consumed. So that UTXO that was there no longer exists. It's been consumed, and we generated 2 new UTXOs with it. And these exist now in the mempool until we spend them.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to stop sharing the screen here because I think that's about it for today. Yeah. But we basically covered, for those who are going to watch this, we've covered how to download it, how to, you got to watch me bumble through getting it onto my library with my terminal. And we were able to run stuff from the terminal and look at it in the code editor, this is something I would suggest you do, experiment with this sort of thing and run these sort of things, and then look at it in the code editor and see what changed. We didn't get through all the commands today, but maybe we'll get through the rest of the commands next time we do a video. So
Yeah, I mean, there's basically everybody who watches this has what they need to know to play with the rest of the commands,
yep.
and that's exactly the attitude you should have. Just play with them. It's
Yeah.
your money, so if the worst thing you can do is burn it and lose it, just put 5 cents in there.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah, that's what I do too. And then so I think that's it for the recording. Anybody in the PSF that's watching this, I hope you've enjoyed it. We'd love to hear your feedback on Telegram and everything like that. We want to know what you want to know and what kind of videos you'd like to see. And thanks for joining us as Chris the Master works with me, the Padawan here, as I bumble through all this stuff. So, and we will see you guys later. So, all right.
Cheers.